This is a mobile soldering station inspired by the one that Adam Savage built. Now, he had certain requirements for his soldering station, and when I looked at the things that I was working on, I had some different requirements. So, first off, the soldering iron used in this station is the TS-80, Miniware TS-80, and this is the older version. I think they have a newer one, the TS-80P, but this is the older one that runs off of QC3. So you plug it into a USB-C power supply that is QC3 compatible, and it'll work at full power. Now, the battery bank I have back here that powers this, since this is mobile, is an Anchor battery pack, and this one is actually running power delivery. And since power delivery is not compatible with QC3, because this is the older version, I had to make a converter here that turns power delivery into QC3. Again, if you buy the newer version, the TS-80P, you won't have that issue. It'll plug into power delivery, no problem. Now, you might notice that this is actually hanging down here, and this is because I needed a way to actually hold the soldering iron. Now, you have the traditional way where you have that metal spiral thing or some sort of metal captive thing that holds it, that does that. Instead, I decided to use the grounding screw on this to hold this 3D printed piece that goes into this holder here, which is screwed into the wooden the panels of the frame, and it just slides in here just like that, and it's good to go. And you might notice that it's actually at an angle like that, and that's just because through some testing I found that it's just more comfortable when I grab it this way. So for the front, one of my requirements was good ventilation. And so I installed a 120 millimeter fan that takes air from the front and blows it out the back through a 3D printed duct back there. Now, I think you can get like a carbon filter for this thing. I don't really know if those work, and so I just wanted a fan here to get the fumes away from me as fast as possible. Now, this fan is plugged in to the battery in the back through USB, and it has this switch built into the fan, so whenever I turn this on here, the fan turns on. And you also notice that it turned on this LED light. So this light is also USB powered, and it's plugged into the same switch as the fan. So whenever I turn this on and off, the light and the fan turn on and off as well. In the front left, I have a custom-made solder spool holder that comes in a few 3D printed pieces. You can take this and slide it out if you want to position it closer to you. You can also take it out in order to remove this top piece here and replace the solder. This is a lot of solder, and so I'm probably not going to do that anytime soon. But yeah, you can take that, slide it back in. And the reason why I have it on the left side is because I'm right-handed. So when I'm doing my work, I can take my left hand and pull the solder out to where my work is, do whatever I need to do, and then when I'm done, I can just wind it back up. On the right side, I have a Hako tip cleaner, the brass sponge type, and that's just held in place with this 3D printed piece that's screwed into the base. Now on the sides, I have some helping hands, and these helping hands are made out of lock line. I also have on the very ends here the nozzles for the lock line, and that nozzle holds a bullet connector. So I just glued in a bullet connector, electrical bullet connector, into the nozzle that this alligator clip slips over, and this allows me to rotate this freely, still pretty securely, but allows me to easily rotate this in order to manipulate whatever I'm working on. These helping hands are held in to the base with a 3D printed piece. So this screws right in, and then it just uses the thread adapter to screw into that. On the other side, I have just another 3D printed piece that holds pliers or flush cutters, whatever you need. It holds it on the side here. Also on the front, you notice that there's a silicone mat here. I like these just because it protects the work surface that I'm soldering on, because this is mobile. So I use a little clip over here to hold this when not in use. This is hard to do with one hand, but oh, there we go. So that's kind of what it looks like when it's stored away, and whenever you need to work on something, you can just take this drops down, and you're good to go. You have a surface that you can solder on. On the top is where I hold some stuff that supports soldering. So first off is the desoldering pump. I like these big blue ones because they have a lot of suction power. They're a little clunky to use, but I kind of like that suction power. And that just goes back here out of the way. I also have a 3D printed piece that holds these extra TS-80 tips. So I can swap them really easily here. On the front, I have a holder for syringes for flux. I've used the ones that come in like a bin, but you need something else that like to scoop it out like toothpicks or something. I didn't really like that. I like the one-handed operation of just using a syringe. And that goes right there. Of course, you need to clean up the flux as well. So I have a bottle of alcohol, some Q-tips, as well as just some extra syringe tips in here for replacement. A miscellaneous bin that you can put stuff in. I just have a desoldering wick as well as a tip cleaner. And I also made these 3D printed pieces that hold these two tweezers. So I have straight tweezers and the angled tweezers, kind of sitting upright and ready to go. In the back, I have a kind of a miscellaneous bin again. This one I'm just using to hold the charger for the battery as well as the soldering iron power supply. And of course, handle right in the middle because this is mobile, so you can just take it wherever you need to go. If you're curious what the back looks like, well, here it is. You can see that the fan has a duct, a 3D printed duct that's attached to it that blows all the fumes out. The LED light is attached just to the frame of it with this clamp. The battery is sitting here in this 3D printed battery holder, and it just slots in. And if you want, you can just easily just take it out. And you can see kind of how the desoldering pump just slides all the way in the back. Trying to utilize as much space as I can. Now, this soldering station is probably not going to be for everyone because everyone's requirements for a soldering station are different, but you can modify this to however you need depending on what you're doing. So there you go.